Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, going to go over an article titled Things Every Feminist Should Ask on a First Date. And guys, this whole article is written by this woman who is giving instructions that every woman or every feminist should be asking a guy to go out on a first date with. And this is not about what's your favorite place to go on vacation. This is not what are your dreams for your life, fun questions like that, not what are your favorite movies. This is all intense stuff, basically about politics and things that the F-minists, as I call them, want to talk about. No fun involved, all intense shit, okay? Now, the other day, I did a video from a woman who was complaining that a young woman that she can't seem to find anybody, and she's alone and all that. And then you find out she's someone just like this. And gee, wonder why no guy is into her and attracted to her. Because women like this are no fun. They're bossy, they're ball-busting, they're intense, okay? That's unfortunately the world we live in and has become more and more, particularly with the younger generation. Which again is why I tell you guys, if you're going to do dating and you're going to go on a first date, make sure you go for one drink, that's it. Because if you are there, you go to meet for a dinner and you're sitting there waiting for your cheeseburger or your steak to come out, and you have somebody like this that listens to someone like this and is going to start rambling on about all these different things, you're stuck there waiting for your damn food, and it's going to be a very unpleasant experience. Better to have one drink, and that way then, and pay for it before you get there, but before she gets there, that way it's already paid for, and she starts going on and on about this bullshit, you can just chug your beer and walk the hell out. End of story, and laugh at her. But, so I'm going to go over this, guys. You're going to see exactly what I'm talking about, this instruction list of things, so you can be aware this is going on, and that way then, you know how things are. Starts off, making sure you and your date are on the same page is an important step in establishing a relationship. Here's a list of some things every feminist should ask on a first date. Clearly, you're going to see this woman probably has never been on a date, otherwise she would never ask these questions. In today's day and age, it is an interesting concept to consider why men are weird about strong women. When feminists try to build close relationships with people and begin dating, it is more serious than a normal dating situation because of feminism's inert strength and direction. Inert strength and direction. Try psychotic, intense, pain in the ass, all these different things. No sense of humor, overreacting, over the top. Every intersectional feminist has strong views and wants a partner who is an accomplice in the fight against W-word supremacy, the patriarchy, queerphobia, and misogyny. Everyday feminism can be extreme, but people who go beyond allyship and are true accomplices can be found in the world if you know what questions to ask. Right then and there, she even admits it, that yes, feminism can be extreme. Gee, you think? It ain't about equality. It isn't about anything like that. It is about emasculation of men. It's not at all what they try to sell. Don't buy it. Personal is political in the world today when our world is so divided. Gee, who do you think that type of personalities are dividing the world? To get close to someone, we must know where everyone stands on important issues. Here are things every feminist should ask on a first date, so they don't waste any time. Number 1, what is your stance on the Black Lives Matter movement? What does that have anything to do with fun and relaxation on a date? The Black Lives Matter movement is something every feminist should ask about on a first date because it addresses issues regarding white people and the fight against W supremacy. Before we get too close to someone, we want to know if they are accomplices in the fight against racism and prejudice, which continue to be seen every day in our society. Feminism today supports the equality of all people, not just women. Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit, and bullshit. Black Lives Matter just as much as white lives and queer femme of color are the smallest minority of any group. Every intersectional feminist wants a partner who understands how important these issues are. The question is one of the best things every feminist should ask on a first date because consent is an extremely important issue today between men and women. Close relationships with people involve a strong sense of trust. Consent is something two people must communicate clearly together about. Everyday feminism involves human understanding what consent is and what it's about. So it appears that somehow there was a problem with the article and it messed up the part with the Black Lives Matter thing that she was going on about and jumped to consent. I don't know what happened here, so just My apologies, guys. Next one. What are your views on abortion? Imagine that heated debate when you're sitting down there having a drink, or, good Lord. Says, abortion is a touchy subject for many, but every feminist should ask this on a first date if she is serious about finding a partner, because it's an important issue. Before we get close to someone, we need to know how they think about a woman's body, and they feel the woman has the right to their own choices. Everyday feminism supports women's choice over her body, and every intersectional feminist is going to want a man who is an accomplice in the fight against pro-life programs who want to take away funding for women's health and abortion clinics. Yeah, imagine that whole conversation. Imagine you actually didn't get a drink and you're having dinner with a woman like this and brings up this topic. And let's just say the guy happens to feel the opposite of her. Literally, people are going to be throwing their cheeseburgers at each other. Imagine sitting at the table next to this. Good Lord. Next one. What movies and books have you been into lately? Now that actually sounds like a decent question to ask until you find out her real motives behind it. A much lighter question that every feminist should ask on a first date relates to movies and books. This question is less in depth. However, the movies and books a person reads can give you a lot of insight into their interests and characteristics as a person. Before we get close to someone, we want to know if they have depth and if they share our common interests. This question will surely let you know if this person is on the same page as you in some way. So in other words, they don't want to hear that you love watching Marvel Avengers movies or things like that. No, this woman and the people she's trying to mold want to know questions about movies about suffrage and things like that. Next one. How do you define gender and sexual orientation? This is one of the things every feminist should ask on a first date, especially if you're a queer femme of color, because queerphobia and misogyny is very present in the world today. Before we build close relationships with people, we need to make sure we know how they feel about us as well as others around us. If we can find someone who understands that all humans are equal regardless of their sexual orientation or gender, then we will know that they are true accomplices in the fight against prejudice and they are someone worth pursuing further. Hey, I'm all for liking everybody of all backgrounds and colors and socioeconomic background or all that stuff. Everything. I'm all for liking people for who they are, not being against someone because of this or that. But again, the way she's wording it, this is not something I want to talk about on a first date or a second date or third date. Again, it's supposed to be something enjoyable and pleasant. Getting to know someone, building, escalating things, towards moving on romantically, not this shit. She says, this is a great question every feminist should ask on a first date to spark an interesting conversation. This will set apart the people who go beyond allyship. The conversation can go into whether humans can be illegal if borders are all made up. In the end, humans are all equally human, and the earth is just one piece of land. Oh, for God's sake. This is great philosophical discussion to have with your date. Good Lord. Next one. Do you think men can be feminist? Oop, I said it. Ask your date if he thinks men can be feminists, and ask if he considers himself to be an feminist. This is a great question every feminist should ask on a first date because it will show you how your date sees everyday feminism and how he sees himself placed within that space. Men absolutely can be feminists because feminists simply believe in the equality of all people. Bullshit. So hopefully you can discuss with your date how great it is to see proud men feminists in the world today. The only guys that claim to be feminists either don't get it or they are so worn down and are the classic beta male types that a lot of these women, even though they're already ball-busted feminists themselves, they're not going to be attracted to because these guys are usually very weak, easy pushovers, things like that. And some of these women actually do want a strong guy, but those guys aren't going to be attracted to a woman that behaves in that way, the strong woman, because it's a complete turnoff, because she's acting like a guy. She continues, this is a very interesting question that every feminist should ask on the first date if they want to make the conversation exciting. Talk about travel. Talk about your hobbies. Talk about what you want to do in the next 5 years. Talk about Marvel movies. I don't care. That's fun. Not talking about that bullshit. Your date may not know how to answer this question or may be shocked by you asking it. Many feminists in the world today support sex work because they believe it supports women's right to do what she wants with her body. There are, however, many people who do not see S work, I gotta speak in code, because they think it undermines women and supports the patriarchy. This topic, should it arise, must be non-judgmental discussion. Opinions can go both ways, and it can be an intriguing discussion to have. Did she really just say that it's going to be a non-judgmental discussion? Get the fuck out of here. It is judgment central. It'll be non-judgmental so long as you agree with her and her views. But if you have a different opinion, now it's different. Last question for this remarkable fun date. What are you doing to proactively fight for the cause? This is a great question that every feminist should ask on a first date to gauge whether your date is really interested in fighting for the women's rights and human rights. Did your date go to the Women's March? Do they vote? Even the smallest things can cause you to have some added respect for them. The person is political, and you want them to be on the same page as you. That's right. We're all for equality so long as you're on the same page as me. If you want your date to be a little more lighthearted, how are you going to be lighthearted with asking all these questions? If you want your date to be a little more lighthearted and want to bypass some of the heavier questions, every feminist on a first date should just ask this simple question. What are your views on feminism? It's to the point and it's not too intimidating. With this question, it shows your date who you are, and their answer will surely show you who they are. Feminism is still important in 2018 after all. This article's 2 years old. So there you go, guys. This is what's out there. This is what you can expect asking these type of questions. It's crazy, okay? Gone are the days of actually trying to have some fun here. Now it's got to be all intense and drilling you with these questions. And God forbid you have a different opinion than them. Like I said, guys, you go for the drink, one drink, that's it. And you encounter someone like this, you can chug it and get out of there. But here's the thing. I want to point something out here. A lot of people like this, a lot of women like this, they want conflict. They want to fight. So even though it'd be very tempting if you get in a situation like this and you're out to eat or out having a drink and someone asks you this type of question and you can see what she really is like, you can tell without a shadow of a doubt she's one of these types, you may be chomping at the bit to debate and argue and all that. But by you doing so, even though you may feel good temporarily, that is what she wants. Believe me, women like this, they want to fight. They want to argue. They're just dying to do it, especially against what they consider a guy who is a part of the patriarchy or they perceive as the enemy. You do that, you're giving her what she wants, and then she's going to walk away even worse. Get in a situation like that, you start getting asked these type of questions, and you know without a shadow of a doubt that she's one of these types, I would just chug your beer, laugh, and say, hey, have a good night. You know, or I can't believe you're asking me these questions. Something like that. You laugh at her. If you engage, you get into a debate and argument right in the middle of freaking Applebee's or wherever the hell you go, Outback or whatever. Believe me, that's what she wants. Trust me on this. Don't do it. I know it's tempting. I know it'd be fun. I know a lot of you guys are the type that would want to argue and fight. And it's not about being a pussy and backing down. You're giving them what they want. Just laugh at them. When you get somebody that's so over the top and so intense, they want to fight. But if you laugh at them, drives them crazy. Trust me on this. So, anyhow, guys, that'd be a funny thing to share. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.